Back. Today marks World Day for Decent Work, and Cosatu in KwaZulu-Natal is using the opportunity to raise some of its most urgent concerns. These range from the privatisation of Transnet, outsourcing at Prasa, and retrenchments at Sapref. Our reporter, Nqobile Madlala, is in Durban and joins me now. Nqobile, the unions are using the strike to raise various concerns. Take us through them, because I understand there are a few of them.
Well, Annelie, a lot of workers have said that they find themselves at the end where they are not benefiting from what is currently happening. They're saying that they're finding themselves having to worry about work. They're saying there's certain areas at Prasa and Transnet where they've decided to outsource. And because they're outsourcing, there are certain departments that are closing down. As a result, this means that they have to worry about work, and certain fellow people who are their colleagues now don't have work. They're saying that they're worried about that. At the same time, they're saying that they've had a lot of concerns around the cost of living. And they've had these concerns spoken to about their bosses, about it to their bosses, but none of them have been taken to consideration. And they're saying that they want an increase, and therefore they would like to still have those conversations. I mean, they were talking to me on the side just before we were on live, and they were talking about the fact that even the percentage that they're asking for, 100 Rand would make such a huge difference in their salary. But of course, they're not asking for 100 Rand, they're asking for more. They want to also be able to afford certain things like school fees, transport, and so on. And so they're saying that they are worried about the fact that the increment, that whole position where these two companies are still standing, does not acknowledge the cost of living and the sort of conditions that they are now working under. They're worried about those certain things. But at the same time, they're saying that they feel that this is going to be ongoing for quite some time, which means anyone who comes into these companies will also have the same situation, and they'll have to deal with the same problem. And so they today decided that no, they need to highlight this and show the employer that they can speak united, and that they can speak about their problems, and that that the employer needs to listen to them. Because they're saying that even when they're speaking to the employer just refuses to listen. But they're the people that know the issues in these companies. One of those issues that they've highlighted is the infrastructure that is dilapidated. They're saying that some of the issues that make these companies not work, or rather work at a limited post, is because the infrastructure is dilapidated, and they feel that most of the work that they need to do has now been taken on by the trucks, when it was the work that could have been done by the rails. So they're saying that all these things are contributors to the retrenchment which they are seeing. But let's listen in as the people explain further.
On the memorandum, we're raising the issues of workers from Transnet, the issues of workers, as you know, in terms of Walmart and Massmart, but importantly, it is the issues of decent work. As you know that today it is the International Decent Work Day, where we're dealing with 4 elements: your job creation, the rights at work, your social dialogue, and social protection. And these are issues that are affecting workers in different sectors of our economy. You would recall that the issues of decent work include the social protection, particularly safety at work. We have lost a number of public servants during COVID because government as an employer could not and failed to provide them with protective clothing. And we're saying those are issues that we should be focusing on. Secondly, in any country, an unemployed has the right to a job. And we need an economy that is going to grow and create those jobs. But once they are at work, they have a right in terms of our constitution and in terms of our Labor Relations Act to join a union of their choice and be organized and have a voice.
If we don't get it after 14 days, we are going to write to them and demand those responses, because as I'm indicating, it's not just a sketch, it's not a drama or a play here. This is a real struggle. We are very much concerned about issues of privatization, but we are also very much concerned about the failure of the employer to offer the workers what you call the decent living wage. Hence, the union is going on strike on Monday.
Nqobile, we heard there from Cosatu leadership themselves, but what are the workers on the ground saying?
Well, I think the workers only have been clear in saying that they're looking for decent work and decent wage. As you can hear, there's Nqobile talking about the fact that there are a lot of forces that has come from the outside, which has basically gotten these Prasa and Transnet to this stage. But they're saying that that shouldn't be their problem. And therefore, the workers on the ground also feel like at this point they've inherited these problems, but it's not the problems that they have created. But what they want is a living wage, and they want to have a decent work, and they want to have decent working conditions. Most of these people that we spoke to, Anli, are people that have been under Transnet and Prasa for quite some time. People that actually love their work, that enjoy their work and wants to be at work. But they're feeling that whatever's happening in the government and whatever's happening with their officials, they feel like they haven't thought about them and that they haven't worried about the sort of states that these companies are at this point. And so they want them to be able to give them what they deserve. And they said to me, Anli, that this is a start. What you will see probably on Monday will be completely different, because they're saying that if they're not listened to, then they probably have to act. And in acting, it might not be the best of ways to be showing how they feel, but it is the only way that they can be understood. Let's listen in.
You can go to South Coast Road, if you can go to Bayhead Road, you can hardly make it to the harbour. And it's because Transnet has been derailed, so to speak. And our obligation as Transnet is to take all goods from port to the entire inland. And right now, if we can check, it's only road trucks that are doing that. And it's no wonder why that is the case. It's because really trains are not moving. And the reality is that when we do so at the expense of the entire republic.
We are affected by the situation, by the prevailing circumstances. There are a lot of things that are happening. The infrastructure where trains are supposed to be running has deteriorated extremely, and we are affected. There are a lot of other issues that are affecting us as workers. So we felt it is important that we demonstrate so that we get attention as workers.
Thank you very much. Our reporter Nqobile Madlala coming to us from Durban.